What's up, Tailgaters? You're in the booth with Tailgate Nate today. Welcome to my channel. We got another Week 9 preview prediction video on the slate for you guys today, and we're going to be talking about one taking place in the Big Ten Conference, a possible trap game and a possible letdown game for the third-ranked team in the country as the Ohio State Buckeyes go on the road and take on the Wisconsin Badgers. Luke Fickell is facing his longtime former program, played at Ohio State, was a defensive coordinator there. A lot of interesting storylines in this one. We're going to break it all down here in just a little bit. But before we do that, hey, I got to say thank you guys so much for the support the channel has seen as of late. It really does mean a lot to me. And you can continue to show your support this college football season by hitting the subscribe button and ringing the bell. If you haven't done so already, it'll let you know when videos get uploaded. Probably the biggest way to help support me. But there are other ways. If you do not feel like hitting the subscribe button, you're doing one right now by watching the video. You're helping to support the channel. And you can do more by liking, commenting, sharing, really anything else you guys feel like you are willing and or able to do to help me support my channel means a lot to me. But enough about me and enough about all of that. Let's talk football. The Ohio State Buckeyes coming off a very, very impressive performance against the previously 7th-ranked team in the country in the Penn State Nittany Lions. They won a top 10 showdown in Columbus, and they did it all defensively. So they're going to look to avoid a letdown game here against the Wisconsin Badgers that needed a little bit here to get past the Illinois Fighting Illini, needed a comeback effort, but they were able to get it done. Let's go ahead and take a look at the stats that both of these teams have put up so far this college football season. We are going to start with the Ohio State Buckeyes. They are the 3rd-ranked team in the country, and they are the the road team here in this game. And for Ohio State, coming into the season, a lot of people figured, hey, it is going to be this offense that is going to kind of lead this team, and the defense is still going to continue to make strides. And while the offense has been good, it has not been as good as it was last year, and it does have some problems in some pretty key areas. However, you take a look there, these are not bad offensive statistics by any means. 33 points per game, 431 yards per game, including 300 plus through the air. Kyle McCord is 1,937 yards, 12 touchdowns, and 1 interception on the season. They have the best wide receiver in college football, an absolute cheat code, in Marvin Harrison Jr., 766 yards on 42 catches for 6 touchdowns. Now, the one thing about this Ohio State offense that really is yet to get going is this rushing game, right? And albeit they haven't been fully healthy for most of this season, you have a guy like Travion Henderson who has been battling an injury for the past couple of weeks. He is going to be coming back. He is a full 100% ready to go for this game against Wisconsin. Mayan Williams has not been as effective as he was last season, but you do have some running backs that are running pretty well. Dallin Hayden's only seen action in one game, but when he did get action, he ran well. The plan is to redshirt him. Don't know we'll see much of him in this game. And Chip Trayanum is running well for this team as well. However, this is the Buckeye team averaging just 3.8 yards per carry. You want to look to elevate that number as the season goes along and continue to improve the offensive line. It has continuously gotten better and better and better as the season has gone along, but it faces another big test with this Badger defense. And speaking of defense, that has been the highlight of this Ohio State Buckeye team. This is probably the best defense Ohio State has seen since 2019. They are the 3rd best scoring defense in the country. They are a phenomenal, one of the top teams in the nation in fewest yards per game. They're a very good defensive front. The secondary is playing really, really well. At times, it looks like more than 11 players are on the field for the Ohio State Buckeyes. They're still one of the only teams, I believe the only team in the nation that has not allowed a play of 40 yards or more, and they have played 7 games so far this season. That's a very, very impressive stat. They're also a really, really good 3rd down defense, one of the best 3rd down defenses in the entire country. They're also a really, really good 4th down defense. They've shown that throughout this season as well. And when you take a look at the sack numbers here, yes, this is a defense that doesn't force a lot of turnovers, and yes, it doesn't generate a ton of sacks. It's generating 2 sacks per game, and this is a defensive line that is still disruptive and still can take over games. JTT took over the game last week against Penn State, much like he did a season ago. I think the highlight of this defense has been the secondary, how much better it has got, and their top corner in Denzel Burke is coming back healthy. Ohio State fans hope to be able to play here in this game. Let's move on over now into the Wisconsin Badgers. When you talk about their offense here, well, it took a big hit a couple of weeks ago because Tanner Mordecai, the starting quarterback and former SMU transfer, he hadn't really lived up to expectations coming in, and he went down with an injury. He had 1,127 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions on the season before he ended up getting hurt. So your new quarterback there is Braden Locke, spelled Braedyy Byn. I do believe so. A little bit of a weird spelling there. I just thought I'd point that out. Locke with an E, 370 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception on 51% completion percentage. He's had his really good moments. He's had his not so good moments here. They're going to look for a big performance out of Braden Locke here in this game. But the thing in this game that you're going to want to need to take over is he's one of the best running backs in the country. It's Braylon Allen. On 120 carries, has 704 yards and 8 touchdowns this season. Ches Malusi is running really well right behind him as well. Both those guys around the 6-yard per carry mark. They still do have some solid receivers out there. It starts out with guys like Will Pauling and DK and Green, but this is going to be a run-first offense here, especially in this game against Ohio State. And one thing with Wisconsin here, yes, you want to see that offensive line improve and get better, but you have to hold on to the football. Fumbling has been a real problem for this team. You cannot give this Ohio State offense more chances on the field, especially with some of the playmakers that they have. Now let's talk about this Badger defense, right? It's still a really, really good defense. However, it is not the Badger defense of years past. It has, however, stepped up in some big moments, been able to get stops when it needs to the most, albeit, though, these are still some pretty solid numbers, right? You take a look there, 18 points per game, 333 yards per game, under 200 passing yards per game, under 140 rush yards per game. They're forced 10 turnovers. They generate 2.57 sacks per game. They're a pretty solid third down defense. All of these stats here do not fully speak out this is a Wisconsin Badger defense. However, it is still pretty solid numbers here. However, this is going to be a huge defensive test when you have to go up against the Ohio State offense. There are a couple things that the Buckeye offense can still improve upon, and this Badger defensive front and all the guys that are able to generate pressure here. They don't have a guy over 4 sacks. They don't have a guy over 4 sacks yet. They've generated 18 sacks on the season, so the sack production really comes from everywhere. A lot of phenomenal players here on this defense. Buckeye offense has got to be careful, got to be wary. So let's take now a look at my what to watch for keys to the game, really whatever you want to call it. It's just some things I think, hey, you should keep an eye on when you are watching this one. The Buckeyes get healthy again. So we start for keys for the Ohio State Buckeyes. I've already told you that TreVeyon Henderson is 100% ready to go to play here in this game, and Buckeye fans and a lot of people around this program are very, very hopeful that guys like Emeka Egbuka and Denzel Burke can get back here and play in this game. So what's very scary about Ohio State right now is they've played really, really well without some of their top guys on both sides of the ball. That should be a scary thing to opponents. It should be scary to Wisconsin. If the Buckeyes are fully healthy, watch out. We could see the best football Ohio State has played this season. But with TreVeyon Henderson back, with Mayan Williams probably ready to go, and with the way that Chip Trayanum has had his moments here, you need to set the tone on the ground. This is a Badger defense that, unlike some years prior, you can run against. It's a Badger defense, or I should say it's a Badger run defense that hasn't quite got everything to gel this year. So if you are the Ohio State Buckeyes, test out TreVeyon Henderson. Test out Mayan Williams. Get Chip Trayanum running. If Emeka's healthy, run him on some jet sweeps. Get the run game going. Set the tone on the ground. That's something that Ohio State's got to get better at moving forward. But again, it all harks back on this defense. The offense is going to do enough. Kyle McCord and company with Marvin Harrison Jr., this elite group of playmakers, are going to do enough things to help you win the football game. And I think the defense with Ohio State is going to take a little bit to settle in. That's the way it's just been this year for the Buckeye defense. It takes a drive or two to really find its rhythm, but it will soon steal the show. I think this Buckeye defense is going to show up, especially if Denzel Burke is healthy, and it's going to play really, really well, especially in that second half. If Wisconsin gets to a lead, they're going to need to play some really good football, because this is the Buckeye team that will step it up, especially defensively. So let's talk about the keys now for the Wisconsin Badgers. What do they have to do to be able to pull off the upset? Well, you have to find consistency on the offensive end. This is a Wisconsin team that, look, has had its really good moments throwing the ball. Braylon Allen has had its really good moments, and for the most part, it has really been Braylon Allen on the ground that has driven this offense, but they have yet to find that consistency. There have been performances where Braylon Allen just has not really been himself. You take a look back all the way at the beginning of the season against Washington State, against some opponents here in Big Ten play, Braylon Allen has really struggled as well, and this is a really, really good Buckeye defensive front, so you have to be able to find consistency on the offensive end, but like I've talked about before, it starts with Braylon Allen. You need to let him take over this game, much like what Ohio State's going to want to do. Set the tone on the ground. Ohio State's going to make make plays through the air. Again, they have the best wide receiver in college football, but if you are the Wisconsin Badgers, let Braylon Allen take over. Let this guy go to work. He's one of the best running backs in the nation. However, you take a look at this matchup last year, Ohio State did not really give Braylon Allen any sort of room to work with at all besides a big play touchdown run. You take that away, Buckeye defense was really able to limit Braylon Allen last year. Allen's got to have a much better performance than he did in the Horseshoe last season. And then defensively, hey, it looks a lot easier, and it's a lot easier said than done. But you got to be able to lock up Marvin Harrison Jr. in key moments. You're not going to lock him up all the time 100%. Marvin Harrison Jr. is just too good. He was catching passes through pass interference last week, and that's just what he does. You got to be able to lock him up at times, especially on third down, and generate quarterback pressure. This Ohio State offensive line is still not fully gelled, and Kyle McCord's footwork could use a little bit of work. So if you can get him reeling, and you can get him outside of the pocket, make him try to force some throws, make him uncomfortable, hey, Wisconsin's got a good shot to force some turnovers, create some extra possessions, which is what you have to do. So moving on into the prediction here, well, the records went away a little bit sooner than I thought, but I do think Ohio State's going to come out here and win this game. Now, it would not surprise me if Wisconsin closes the spread here, and that was initially my prediction. I had something like 27-16, and I thought Wisconsin was going to cover the spread. However, I do believe that this is an Ohio State team that, while yes, the defense is going to take some time to settle in here, it will soon do what it did last year for the most part against the Wisconsin Badgers and do what it's done throughout the entirety of the season. It's going to lock down this Wisconsin team, especially in the second half. Kyle McCord is going to make a couple of huge throws, specifically to Marvin Harrison Jr. I think this run game, while it won't be 100%, will be better in this game, and the Buckeyes pull away and they cover here to win the game in Madison. Primetime game on NBC should be a lot of fun. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. And hey, as always, remember to play hard but tailgate harder. I'll see all you guys in the next video. Goodbye.